Canto 1, Chapter 9. The passing away of Bhishmadev in the presence of Lord Krishna. In the previous chapter, we saw how Yudhishthir Maharaj was lamenting for the loss of lives in the Kurukshetra war, and he felt that he was responsible for it. Being afraid for having killed so many subjects, Maharaj Yudhishthira, desiring to understand Dharma, went to Kurukshetra where Bhishmadev had fallen. Yudhishthir was accompanied by his brothers Krishna and sages like Vyasa and Dhaumya. Seeing Bhishmadev lying on the ground like a demigod fallen from the sky, the Pandavas and Lord Krishna bowed down before him. Great souls from all over the universe had assembled to see Bhishmadev. Parvatamuni, Naradamuni, Brihadashva, Bharadvaja, Parashurama, Vasishta, Gautama, Atri, Shukadev Goswami, Kashyapa, Angirasa, etc., along with all of their disciples, were present there. Bhishmadev welcomed everyone properly, for he knew dharma as applicable to time and place. Bhishmadev could not welcome them physically, but he did so by sweet words and hearty expressions. Bhishmadev, knowing the glories of Lord Sri Krishna, worshipped him. Lord Krishna is the Lord of the universe. He is situated in everyone's heart, and he manifests his transcendental form by his internal potency. After worshipping Lord Sri Krishna with his heart, he saw the Pandavas were very silent and they were overwhelmed with affection. So Bhishmadev spoke to them with his tears blinding his eyes. He told the Pandavas, "Although you underwent so many sufferings, you were always protected by the Brahmanas, Dharma, and Lord Achyuta. Kunti suffered so much due to Pandu's death, and she had to raise you as young children. She suffered even as you were growing up. This is all done by inevitable time. Time controls the world along with its protectors, just as the wind controls the clouds." How can there be reverses in spite of the presence of Yudhishthir, the son of Dharma, Bhima, the holder of the club, Arjuna, the holder of the Gandiva, and Krishna as a well-wishing friend? No one can know the plan of Krishna. Even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they get bewildered. So just accept the inconceivable plan of the Lord and obey it by taking care of the helpless citizens, because now you have become their master. This Sri Krishna is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is Bhagavan, the original Narayana, and the Supreme Enjoyer. He bewilders everyone by his Maya and moves secretly in the Vrishni family just like one of us. Esha vai Bhagavan Sakshat Adyo Narayana Puman Mohayan Mayaya Lokam Ghudas Charati Vrishnishu. Shiva, Narada, and Kapila, the Mahajans, know his glories very confidentially. Out of ignorance only, actually, you thought him to be your maternal cousin, friend, well-wisher, counselor, messenger, benefactor, etc. Lord Krishna is actually present in everyone's heart. He is equally kind to everyone. He is free from false ego of differentiation, and he is the absolute. Therefore, whatever he does is free from material inability, and he is free from all sorts of attachment. Though he is equal to everyone, he is specially inclined to his unflinching devotees. He has mercifully come before me when I am ending my life. The devotee whose mind is absorbed in Krishna with devotion and whose voice chants the holy names of the Lord is released from the bondage of karma while quitting his body. May my dear Lord kindly await me in his beautiful four-handed form with lotus face, reddish eyes, and pleasing smile when I am quitting this material body. Yudhishthir, after hearing Bhishma Dev speak like that in an appalling tone, he inquired about various dharmas from Bhishma Dev. Bhishma Dev then explained Varnashrama, Vairagya, Raga, Dhana Dharma, Raja Dharma, Moksha Dharma, Stri Dharma, and Bhagavad Dharma, which is the most important. He also described Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, citing instances from various historical references because he himself was completely well acquainted with the absolute truth. When Bhishma was describing Dharma, the auspicious time of Uttarayan, which is desired by many mystics who die at their will, had arrived. Thereupon, Bhishma, who spoke on thousands of topics and who fought thousands of battles, withdrew his mind and focused on Lord Sri Krishna, who stood right there before him in his four-handed form and dressed in yellow garments. By pure meditation on Lord Sri Krishna, he was freed from all auspiciousness and bodily pains. All the external activities of his senses stopped, and he prayed to the Lord. Bhishma Dev's prayers are as follows. Let me now invest my thinking, feeling, and willing on the all powerful, self satisfied Lord Sri Krishna, who is the leader of the devotees and who sometimes enjoys pastimes by descending into his own creation, the material world. Let me have Rati for that Vijaya Sakha, whose transcendental body is desired by the three worlds and whose complexion is dark blue like the tamal tree. His glittering yellow clothes shine in the sun, and his lotus face is surrounded by curly locks of hair. Let my mind go unto Sri Krishna on the battlefield, whose flowing hair was covered with dust raised from the horses, and whose face was wetted with sweat. When his skin was wounded by my sharp arrows, he enjoyed it. Bhishma's fight with the Lord was an exchange of transcendental pleasure. So his throwing of sharp arrows at the Lord's transcendental body is as good as the worship of another devotee who throws soft roses upon him. It is also something similar to the bites of a fiancé. So Bhishma had this beautiful rasa with Lord Sri Krishna. Bhishma continued to pray. He said, May I have Rati for Partha Sakha, who by his merciful glance shortened the lifespans of the opposite party when he placed the chariot in the midst of the two armies at Arjuna's command. May the object of my attraction be the lotus feet of that Lord who eradicated Arjuna's ignorance by delivering transcendental knowledge when he was bewildered and refused to fight. Sacrificing his own promise not to use a weapon and to fulfill my desire to see Krishna fighting for saving his friend, he ran towards me with a chariot's wheel while the earth shook and his outer garment fell on the ground. Let my destination be Lord Mukunda, who rushed towards me as if angry to kill me, his body covered in blood from the wounds of my sharp arrows. May I have Rati for that Parthasarathi, who stood with a whip in his right hand and the reins for the horses in his left, carefully protecting Arjuna's chariot and awarding the original forms to those who died on the battlefield seeing him. Actually, the gopis' love is the supreme. Lord Krishna's movements and smiles of love attracted the gopis who imitated his actions, blinded by the madness of love. At the Rajasuya Yajna, I witnessed Lord Sri Krishna being worshipped by great kings and the sages who were most exalted. Now, I can meditate upon that Lord Sri Krishna, having transcended the misconceptions of duality in regard to his presence in everyone's heart. The sun may be perceived differently, but he is one. Thus Bhishma, with his mind, speech, sight, and actions, absorbed himself in Krishna, became silent, and stopped breathing. Knowing that Bhishma Dev had attained the supreme, both men and demigods sounded drums. The kings praised him and flowers fell from the sky. Yudhishthir performed funeral rites for the departed Bhishmadev, and everyone was overtaken by grief. The sages then glorified Krishna by the confidential Vedic hymns. Maharaj Yudhishthir, along with Lord Sri Krishna, went back to Hastinapur and consoled Dhritarashtra and Gandhari. With the permission of Dhritarashtra and the approval of Krishna, Maharaj Yudhishthir then ruled the kingdom strictly according to Dharma. With this, the summary of this chapter 1.9 is complete. Hare Krishna.